Next, we have the Road Review Committee. And I'm not doing my cheat sheet here. We had, from the Road Review Committee, 2 requests for CIP projects. Continuation of the ditching program initiated in 2009 for $60,000, which is what has been funded the past, this past year, and I think the year before that was $60,000 as well, coming from taxation, and number 2 being a civil engineering, surveying, and proper road design of Bennett Hill Road. After the CIP was presented, I understand that the Road Review Committee came in, met with Tom and Nancy, and has asked that they be afforded the opportunity to resubmit their CIP plans. And Jim Jenren, the chair of the Road Review Committee. Jim, what would you like to tell us?
Well, there was the Bennett Hill Road we were asked to look at because we were hoping that it could be a shovel-ready project. Apparently, from what Sebago Technics and everything else that I've read, it's not really a really feasible item to take care of at this time. So we had decided that the priority would be Mass Camp Road. Now, I've just recently heard within the last couple of weeks that we've gotten approval for the financing of it. Of course, Fred's not around, so I can't really verify anymore. So we had put that as a priority for, putting in the amendment. So basically, I guess we'll be going for the ditching, and the second year, the engineering for Deering Ridge Road.
So you're asking that the board...
For Deering Ridge?
Yeah, they received $20,000 from FEMA.
For
They did. To repair okay, so, well, like I said, we had been asked to look into Bennett Hill Road. When we didn't have the correct figures, because we couldn't come up with the correct figures for engineering, that kind of got put on the back burner. Reading the report from Sebago Tech tells us that it's not really feasible to do that at this point. There's just too many variables and just too much between the wetlands and the DEP and the road not being wide enough, and there's a lot, and more than we thought. So we decided that Mass Camp Road, because we didn't have a real answer at the time, we was going to put that in as a priority. At this point right now that I found out that we've had approval for it, I guess the only thing we can really put in for the first year is the actual ditching, and continue on with the Deering Ridge project and do the engineering the next year for that. It's very hard to come up with figures when we're not engineers.
Well, it's hard to make plans also when people are not available.
True, and it's hard to make plans 5 years ahead of time when we should really be concentrating on the first couple of years instead of wasting all kinds of time trying to do a hypothetical of what's going to be in 3 years or 4 years. So it makes it hard.
So what you're asking, Jim, is you're saying disregard the Bennett Hill Road project?
Correct.
Just remove that?
Remove that, because
All
we're
said
not
and
going
done.
to get the funding for that. It's just going to be way too costly. Just looking at the price breakdown on the back, with between $84,000 and $105,000 just for engineering, not including the other costs that are incurred that go along with it. I got it in here on the sheet in here if you want me to show you, but...
And then continuing on with the ditching program?
Continuing on with the ditching program, correct, which is something that should be ongoing anyways. And because we didn't really, I guess, because we didn't have all our ducks in a row, the first year we're going to end up just doing ditching, and we'll concentrate on trying to get in the second year, getting the engineering. Since we've gotten some figures of what engineering can cost, we can kind of base our estimates now, even though they're going to change from project to project. We got no way of knowing an exact figure.
Questions? Dennis?
My only, and I guess, you guys have done a lot of great work on categorizing roads and what needs to be done. And what I'm a little bit concerned with is that, a couple of things, you know, and I'm all for continuing the ditching program. I just don't get a sense that the roads that are being ditched are what the road review committee would set up for a priority. Okay, so, you know, and I understand we've got a little unique situation where we've got a road commissioner who has, you know, a budget for certain things, and then there's capital monies for, you know, things like the ditching program and whatnot. But at some point in time, if we're not attacking this thing in some sort of priority,
We agree with you, I agree with you totally, but the problem we have is because, you know, trying to find cost figures for a lot of things, being as we're all volunteers, we only meet once a month, we've only got X amount of time to try to do this, I mean, and we keep getting tasked more tasks, which we don't have a problem with that, but, you know...
and I'm not, don't take this in a negative way.
No,
I just
I'm
think
not.
you guys have done a great job of categorizing stuff. Somehow we need to get focused so that when that capital money is spent, it's spent on that priority, not,
Correct.
you know,
And-
because
and
my concern, and I'm going to lay one of these out here, all right? 3 years ago, we ditched 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet of Daring Ridge Road and put a big black pipe in the bottom of the ditch and then buried everything, right? Didn't work. Now we're back, we've dug it all out again, right? The same 1,500 feet of ditch. So I'm not sure, you know, we've ditched the road twice in the last 3-4 years,
And it didn't
right?
work.
And I'm assuming we're back to where we were
it's
now.
hard.
I mean, so
I think...
the frustrating part is that, you know, that's another 1,500 feet of ditch that should have been done
True.
somewhere else,
So
right?
it's all up to the road commissioner, basically, which road
Well,
gets
see,
chosen.
and this is where I am. It's
I-
not up to the road commissioner.
Well, okay,
The road review committee has a set of,
we're working on
Right.
it, that's what we're
Right.
trying to do, we're trying to
and
get...
again, I'm not trying to pick on you guys, I'm
No,
just
no,
saying
I
is
understand.
that, God, you
know-
did all this work.
I
We've
know
got-
that Nancy's working real hard on, and tracking the work that's being done. We're trying to get a handle on that, because
Nancy
there's never...
Roberge.
Yes, excuse me.
Yeah, we've got so many
Well,
Nancy's ones.
True, but what I'm saying is that we are actually working on trying to get it so that it is manageable, but without having the right info and not being able to track any of it, it's pretty hard to predict any. So, you know, it takes time. So I know that Nancy Roberge just told me not too long ago she's been doing some more entries. So, you know, I'm just hoping that in time we'll have some history to pull from, because, you know, right now it's pretty tough.
Nancy, when the warrant was written with the CIP project for ditching, if I recall correctly, the wording is that to be spent under the direction of the Board of Selectmen and the Road Commissioner, correct?
Yes. I
So
believe so, yes.
if we changed the wording on the warrant this year, that the funding was to be spent under the direction of the Board of Selectmen and the Road Review Committee, would that give us the ability for the Road Review Committee to approve what work? Is that possible?
They would have to come up with a list. Technically, it's their CIP, their request, not the road commissioner's request.
John?
And, you know, and this is one of the problems I was talking to last night, that our charter really does not say, it says we have a road commissioner. It doesn't say what the road commissioner's duties are, responsibility, who are they responsible to, or who is the person responsible to, other than the people who elect them. So your road commissioner does not have and how the road commissioner relates to the boards of selectmen or to the town administrator. There's nothing there. So a road commissioner can really kind of, and I'm not talking about Fred here, but just the road commissioner can kind of do his own thing, and there's very little control. So he's got a road review committee that comes up with a set of projects, but the road commissioner, there's nothing there that says he has to follow them. And is just responsible every 3 years to be reelected. Other than that, The only controls on a road commissioner or projects that the road commissioner does is whether we pay the bills or not. And if a project is, money is encumbered and work is done, then the selectmen are in a hard place, if we don't agree with it, not to pay the bill, we're going to get sued. So there needs to be some controls in there as to who the road commissioner is responsible to and what situations. And I think the road review committee does their job. Here's our recommendations. They give it to the Board of Selectmen. And what the road commissioner and the Board of Selectmen do with it is they have no control over that. They gave us the recommendations. They gave the road commissioner the recommendations. Whether he follows it or not is, there's nothing there in the charter that says how that's going to happen.
The other
That's because
thing
he
is,
falls under state law like the selectmen.
Excuse me?
He follows under the state law like the selectmen do.
Yeah.
But if the article is written to be spent under the direction of the Board of Selectmen and road commissioner, the road commissioner should be filling out a report on the project. This is what we're going to do, this is going to be the cost breakdown, and show it to the selectmen before the project is done.
Yeah, it says "and the selectmen," not "or the selectmen."
It's-
So the selectmen have got to be part of that process of what gets done.
The way the article was written this year is to see if the town will raise and/or appropriate $60,000 from Europe Road Block Grant for additional road ditching on town roads to be spent under the direction of the road commissioner with fiscal approval from the Board of Selectmen.
There you go.
So I think we need to, as a warrant's getting put together this year, make sure that we change the wording on the articles that would be related to the road review committee's CIPs to make sure that you guys you own it, as opposed to the road commission, the way it's worded out now.
Well, does that fall suit with, I mean, to me, you're giving the road review committee a lot more authority than other committees in town here.
Yeah.
I think there maybe the reorganization or rewording, as John is saying, on
the other
who
thing,
does
like-
what and how it's done. I don't feel the committee should be dictating how the money's being spent. They make the recommendations,
Yeah.
but they don't, that's as far as they go.
But ultimately, David, they're the ones that they're putting together a list of priorities, right? This road this is the most urgent road that we go ditch. This is the most urgent road that we go rebuild, whatever the case may be. If they put those priorities and come up with the budget number, and this year happens to be $60,000, then that has to be what gets executed.
I
What we
agree.
have today is we have a plan, and then we execute whatever we want to execute.
as it comes
But
out.
that's
And I
not,
shouldn't use the word "we," but,
I know, but that, we need to correct that.
so I'm not saying that the road review
Right.
committee of the instruments to get it done. I'm just saying is they determine a procedure and a policy to follow. That has to be followed, right? It's up to us, I think,
Right,
as a board, to say you will.
this is what's
Right.
going to be done, okay? But I just don't feel they have that authority. I mean, they can make a recommendation, and we need to follow it, okay? But I almost feel like we're trying to sidestep something here by putting them with that authority of controlled money.
Well, I think you've got a unique situation here that's different from any other town department. I mean, at the transfer station, if we don't like the way that Clint is spending his budget, we have some authority over Clint to say, no, this is the way that this needs to be done. And if, Clint doesn't, toe the line, then there's, it's his job. With the roads, you're talking about an elected official who can go out and spend the money how he chooses, and we have, as a board, have no authority to say, you're not necessarily spending the money the way we want you to, so we don't have any control over that.
Well, then, we need to make this known and correct it.
And
It's
that's,
another meeting that we need, really
Yeah.
need to deal with.
and that's, I mean, and that's something that the Charter Commission has to look at, and, you know, whether that changes or not, but in the meantime,
True. The other thing is too, I know this is kind of a little bit off subject, but it's part of it too. It seems like the road committee is actually getting, like you were saying, has got more responsibilities than some other committees. And it's also like, if we get more funding for counters, et cetera, like that, we've only got 5 members. And they, you know, they're gonna want road counts of different roads, et cetera, et cetera. We might have 3, 4 counters by the time it's all said and done. But are we gonna really have the manpower to be able to set these up when they need to be set up and everything? We may wanna start thinking about making the road committee a little bigger.
well, that's a great, now's the perfect time to bring that up, because you have the Charter Commission that's in place, and you can recommend to the commission. But the other thing that I think that we forget that we have is we have Tommy. And so if we have road counters, and as a town, we need to have those road counters out at particular times, you know, I think that that's, sometimes we need to remember that we've got Tommy that we can utilize. Yes, he's busy doing other things, but he is an employee of the town, and if we have
Tom,
Blackburn, he
Oh.
works for the road department.
okay.
So if we
Because
have
it takes
somebody...
time, it takes time to set these all up. I mean, what do we say, about an hour maybe for one, to set one up roughly? So if you got 4 of them to set up, let's say, for example, to do a whole intersection, like right over here, you know, we're probably gonna have a police officer, you know, conducting traffic, because you try to set these up, try to cross the road, you know, you gotta put the hoses across the road, and if you're doing 3, 4 intersections, I mean, we're volunteers, and there's only 5 or so of us. I mean, and, you know, not everybody's gonna participate as much as some of us, so, you know, we gotta keep that in mind, too.
Okay. Any other questions?
I brought up before my concern for needing 4 road counters, and maybe we ought to start off with 1, learn...
We do have one. We do have one.
Okay, then get another one, and have 2, and learn to deal with those 2 before we throw 4.
I understand you on that, but the problem is like, if you pay for one, it costs $1,600, and you can get 3 for $2,400. I mean, it kind of tells you probably ought to go for the biggest bang for your buck. And I know the counters would definitely be a plus, but again, you got to consider the manpower to actually implement them too. I mean, I know we're going to do what we can, but I mean, if we have more requests than we can handle, they have to go through the selectmen, not individual people coming up saying, hey, we need a road count, hey, we need a road count.
And that's a conversation that we'll actually have budget, because it's under $5,000, it's not part of the CIP, so I'm sure when you submit your
We already have.
budget,
We
that
already
was
have,
part of it.
so.
So that'll be a discussion that we certainly, I'm sure, will have during our budget sessions.
I'm sure, and you know, another thing too, the 12-town group, there may be some other towns that would use road counters too, so that's something that we might be able to buy as a couple of towns and share.
Or
Another
we
thing,
buy them and lease them out.
Yeah, we rent them out. Make money.
another thing the selectmen may want to think about is the possibility of whether or not it's cost-effective to get an engineer for the town. Either you split it with another town or whatever, because I think the cost savings would be tremendous, especially thinking of what Sebago Tech is quoting for certain prices of certain things. I mean, I think in the long run,
Tom can do some of that in his part then.
but that's all I really have tonight.
Okay, any other questions?
I
Gordon?
got more of a comment. I think that somehow, somewhere along the line, we have built this thing into mass confusion. This is the only committee that I know of that has a budget, and they're an advisory committee. I mean, I don't even think that it's appropriate that an advisory committee have a budget. This should be in the road commissioner's budget when he submits it. They should be giving him a list of, these are the roads that need to be ditched, this is what we're advising, this is what we think ought to be paved, and they forward that to the road commissioner. The road commissioner reviews this, submits his budget with those recommendations in mind. I mean, I don't know of any other municipality that I know of that has an advisory board that it's actually, I mean, a committee that we've made into a town department.
Wow. We don't have a
Well,
town
not
department, and every other town's got a town department, that's it.
And
No,
let's
but I
not
mean, we have a road
confuse.
commissioner that's supposed to be submitting a budget.
Basically, what you probably ought to have is a town department for the road committee, you know? I mean, literally, somebody,
Public Works Department.
yeah. But I
I mean,
mean,
what-
that
what-
might come in time,
I,
but it's
I
not gonna
agree
happen
with,
overnight.
I agree with Dave. It seems like we're trying to make an advisory committee, the road commissioner's supervisor,
Right.
in a sense, to get control over it. And I don't think that's appropriate at all. If anything, it should be the town administrator.
And that's what you get. You do have a committee that's putting together the CIP plan, but their CIP plan for ditching may not be what actually gets done.
That's where it goes along with the 5-year CIP plan. It's great in theory, but I mean, in reality, the first year or two, if we're lucky to get those done, we're doing good. So we're wasting a lot of time trying to formulate something 3 years down the road that we have no control on to begin with. Just something to think about.
Other comments?
It's a deeper subject than,
Yeah.
Nancy we were talking about engineering, and they were talking about the Dearns Ridge Road, and Bennett Hill Road, and Mass Camp Road, and you said something about $20,000? We got $20,000 for what?
Mass
Mass
Camp Road.
Camp.
Mass
Road.
Camp Road,
Okay,
federal
FEMA.
monies for that.
okay.
Hopefully that's enough.
We got 20 for that, and I think there was a little over 4,000 for the work that was done on New Dam Road.
In a sense, I can see why the Road Review Committee has developed budgeting, because you have a road commissioner that has been elected every 3 years, so you have a turnover in road commissioner, and you have continuity comes from the Road Review Committee. And so, maybe that's what's happened over the years, is the Road Review Committee has come up with its own budget, because you don't know necessarily in 2 years who's going to be road commissioner.
Let's not confuse budget and
With
CIP,
CIP.
because
Yeah.
they are two very different things. I think every committee within town has a budget. Everybody puts in for a couple $1,000s for this, that, or the other
I meant
thing.
CIP.
But the CIP is a different, and
Correct.
the Friends of the Waterboro Public Library, now they put together the CIP for the new library.
Yes.
It falls under the library, but you have a town committee that put together that CIP, so to say, yeah, it's not even a town committee. So to say road review is the only entity within town outside of, the
We've only
board
recent-
putting together a
We've only
CIP
just
is incorrect.
recently actually implemented the budget. I mean, we didn't have a budget that
Yeah,
we
it's
knew
a
of
couple
prior
years
to
ago.
last year. I mean, and now we've been implementing it, but
So, anything else for overview? Okay. So that gives us a pretty in-depth opportunity to go through the CIP. I think we came out of this with a couple of things, questions we need to have answered, and then the next step with this is as we go through the budgeting process, looking at if we're going to be putting this in the budget or not, and then we'll have to have a public hearing on the CIP plans at least 60 days before the budget is due for final approval. So that'll be the next step. Okay. Anything else on the CIP? All right. Moving on, commercial haulers permits. David, I'll turn this one over to you.
Clint, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Guess what? I came off, left all my papers home, and that's normal.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, thanks.
Good try, Clint.
it's in the packet. It's in our
It's in the packet.
The dog ate your homework.
I'm surprised you didn't say you were going to turn it over to Bob Gobio. He has the paperwork, and it seemed to be going that way.
Okay, we had a subcommittee that sat down and we went to Kevin Roach and asked him to give us a letter that we would send to every hauler that's hauling out of this town. And he came back with I don't know, it's kind of an easy, you've all got it in the packet, but it's kind of an easy, get your sticker or else type of a warning to them. I guess the thing is now is when you people want to implement it. If you agree to it. Any questions?
I mean, we've been talking about it, we said we'd let the dust settle after we get squared away, and I think the dust is all settled, and I think it's time to, we've got a recommended letter, and I don't see that there's anything wrong with it. I think we send it off and attempt to deal with those that we have not licensed yet. or
So it will
permitted yet.
put everybody on the same footing, okay? And we have some people who are licensed now, and they have faithfully done that over the past several years, but there are several haulers in town that haven't done that. And our agreement with Eco Maine is that all trash produced in Waterboro goes to Eco Maine. That's in the contract.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a step that we need to take to assure that that is happening.
But there are other problems too that we've discussed quite a bit last night, is who's going to enforce this? And it comes down to the,
But I think that's the next step. I mean,
Yeah.
I think let's get the letters out. We know that there are other guys operating in this town, get them licensed. If we know that there are people that are refusing to haul to Eco Maine or refusing to get licensed, then I think we deal with that. And I think that becomes a letter, and then it becomes a letter from the attorney, and, we go that way. I mean, I don't see us having a, private detective chasing trash trucks around the town, but, let's take it from a higher level at this point, right?
right?
We get into the minutia of how we're gonna track Joe's rubbish hauler to see if he's actually going to Eco Maine.
We did discuss last night about maybe sending a letter to every business in town, and I don't think that was ever voted on.
Just that the haulers
I
have to
kind
be
of think it
permitted?
needs to, like Hannaford's down here, it's going to be a shock to them. Anybody who has contracts with these haulers,
It shouldn't be a shock to anybody, Clint. We're gonna send them a letter saying that the
you're going to send it to
town
the
of
haul,
Waterboro
you're sending it to
has-
the haulers.
The town of Waterboro
Yeah.
has an ordinance.
Right.
We have requested that any commercial hauler within the municipality become licensed or permitted, right? That should not be a shock to Hannaford.
Okay.
And really, it's not Hannaford's concern. I
No.
mean, it may be in the end, because the hauler may make some adjustments, but we are addressing the haulers. We're not addressing the stores or
I mean-
business.
You start with the haulers, and then if we find that we have some haulers that end up not being in compliance, then if we know who they're hauling to, then maybe at some point you notify the business just to say,
Yep.
the hauler that you're employing is illegally operating in Waterboro, and use them as a mechanism to help us bring everybody into compliance. But I don't think we need to make this bigger than it is at the get-go.
I'm certain we're going to get a level of cooperation from the licensed haulers, because them being in business, they're certainly not going to want to have to compete unfairly. And I would imagine that if they're properly licensed and they know of a hauler that isn't, that, they'll certainly be passing that information on.
Oh,
Certainly will.
definitely,
I mean, how many haulers are we talking about?
there's probably a dozen right now.
We're not talking like 40 or 50 different
No.
haulers, and of those dozen or so, how many are licensed currently?
We got 3 now that are licensed. I mean, that was the first question that Dean asked me, and Ralph Bally, and I said, Ralph, you already got a sticker. You're already doing that. You're bringing it here. But,
So if we want to move this thing, I'd move that we send the letters out to those known commercial haulers within the municipality.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Could we add something onto that would require a notice be put in the paper for all potential haulers, that they would have to come to the town hall to be licensed, or? This would,
Certainly put something in there. I
this
think
would,
that's-
this would address issues that might come up in the future, put people on notice that,
Right.
Where are you going to, what papers would you put that in?
I don't know, the Smart Chopper, that has a lot of local applicability,
Well, we have a standard, right, for where we advertise.
Or we could,
I would just
we
say
certainly
that
could have it on our
We
webpage.
just put a notice out, right, a legal notice that effective January 1, Town of Waterboro is implementing this phase of their ordinance. If you haven't received a letter, you should come to the town office.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? All right. So Clint, you're going to make that happen?
Can.
And let us know in a couple weeks how you make it out?
Okay.
All right. Moving on to new business, number 3, self-evaluation system for committees and boards. This is at the request of John, who did some research. So John, what would you like to share with us?
One of our goals for this year was to work more effectively with our boards and committees. And we had talked in the goal, one of the things we're going to do is, and which we have done, and it's the selectmen have divided themselves up among boards and committees to attend meetings and to be available for these boards and committees and get information flowing back and forth. Another thing that we had talked about is training, and do some training for our boards to help them be as effective as they can possibly be. And that, of course, is beneficial to the town and beneficial to us as selectmen in doing our job, too. So prior to any training, I had thought, well, maybe if the boards did a little self-evaluation. This came up the other day, a week or so ago, when Tammy brought up requesting that all boards and committees give us an agenda. This kind of, and we had talked about that being a good thing, but in it was all in how we did it. We got volunteers out there, and we can't demand volunteers to follow certain rules easily. It's best to request that from them. So here's a kind of something that happened actually in parallel when Tammy was coming up with her request to the boards and committees and coming up with agendas. I was doing this at the same time. So what I wrote here is what works. And this is from some research that I had done and talked with people that have gone through the training of boards and committees, and some of the things I've read on the effective boards and committees. That several things happen. What is the essential ingredients of an effective board or committee? And that is to develop a clear plan, direction, including goals. That the committee members, all the committee members know why they're there, what they're doing that year, and how, in a sense, to know at the end of the year whether they were successful or not. Then a committee chair who is a strong, active advocate for the plan. So when the committee elects a chair, that person is there when the committee is coming up with the recommendations to the Board of Selectmen and to the town, that chair is very active in that process. Number 3 is organize meetings following an agenda. That people have an opportunity before they go to the meeting to know what's happening in order to prepare for the meeting, and an agenda, and to follow that agenda so that the time in the meeting is used efficiently. So when individuals are going to a meeting and they're putting their own time in, they feel that after the hour or 2 hours in the committee meeting, they feel, oh, that was time well spent. And it wasn't just going around in circles, but it was, we have an agenda and we followed that agenda. Number 4 is a positive approach to problem solving. And that has been in more time spent in proactive, what are we going to do, what is the committee here for, rather than reaction. And then number 5 is a regular communication with individuals and boards who affect the planning of the, and the execution of plans. So if most of your boards and committees here are somewhat dependent on the Board of Selectmen, and so in order to be really effective and efficient, they need to have an ongoing communication. That's one of the reasons why we put selectmen on each one of the major committees, is to enhance that communication. So what I came up with those five ingredients is it came up with a 1 to 5 point scale, 1 being little and no evidence in this happening, to 5 being clear evidence of this happening on a regular basis. And number 1 question is, does the committee board have a clear plan, direction, goals that are referred to regularly in the committee? And the committee members can answer that. Does the committee board chair advocate actively for the committee's goals? Does each meeting follow a pre-planned agenda? Are meetings spent primarily planning for the future rather than discussing the past? And does the chair or a designated member of the committee communicate regularly in writing and in personal contact with the Board of Selectmen or the town administrator? So my recommendation is something like this be sent to each committee, and not require that they turn this back into the Board of Selectmen, but use it for their own self-evaluation. Are we doing these things? Are we as effective and efficient as we can be? And maybe if 1 or 2 of these areas is a little bit shortfall, they can correct it internally or ask for help. And then the follow-up on this might be training. That's my communique to you all.
Comments?
Would it be more effective to, and hoping that this would get implemented or followed, if the boards, like I'm on a couple of committees, if I sat down with the chairman and went through this, if each of us did that?
I wonder if you'd want to do it with just the chair or with the committee as a whole?
Well, I mean, it's the whole committee, but directed to the chair.
I think that might have some effect. Just kind of walking through it so it
Yeah,
doesn't
rather than
come as
just
a,
mailing it out and...
just dropping it on the desk, you know,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, that would be my thought too, is that if you mail it out, some might follow it, but if each selectman that's on a committee ask the chair to put this on the agenda, and then ask the committee as to how you want to do this. Do you want to do this individually and report back to the committee, or do you want to do it as a group and rate yourself? And then and having done that, then what is your reaction to it? What do you want? What if there's some areas that you feel that are a little bit of a shortfall there? Then how can the selectmen, or what can the selectmen do to help you? Is it training? Is it is it communication? More communication? So anyway, I agree. I think if we brought it to each one of the committees that we're working with, that would get it would be used.
Other comments? Dennis, Gordon?
No, I mean, I'm more than willing to take it to the groups, and we'll go from there.
Everybody in agreement with that?
I missed what he said.
Everybody, he said he's willing to take it to the committees, and I
Okay.
think if we each do that with our committees. All right. Thank you for putting that together, John.
You're welcome.
Okay. Moving on, that's it for new business. Under old business, the dam update. Yep.
The
so
dam.
There's nothing at this point that we need to take any action on. We're waiting for some added additional information, so we're all set with that. Other, would entertain a motion to sign the warrants for bills and payroll.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. And we have the minutes from 12:14. I'd entertain a motion for that.
So moved. Second.
All right, so we had a motion,
Any way you want.
motion by John, we had it seconded by David. All those in favor? Okay. Pending decisions, we have the medical.
Madam Chairman, if we
Oh.
can, just for a moment, under other business, is it appropriate this time for a motion? Because I'd like to make a motion to add an executive session to the end of this meeting pursuant to Title I, Maine Revised Statutes Annotated, Section 405, 6D regarding labor negotiations.
Okay. Is there a
I
second?
will
to-
second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, so we'll add that at the tail end after our reminders.
Thank you.
Pending decisions, the medical marijuana ordinance. I'll follow up with Tina this week and see where the planning board might be with that. And I know that some work has been done with the public service announcement, so we'll continue to plug away at those. For the week's action list, out of the CIP discussion with department heads, we had a number of things that came out of there. Clint will work on getting out the letters to the commercial haulers, and we'll all work on getting John's self-evaluation out to our representative committees. And discussion of agenda items. Next week, it would be a workshop week. Dennis, you're not going to be here, correct?
Yep.
All right,
I'm not either.
you're not either. Nancy's not either. So that leaves John, Gordon, and I. So do we
You can
want
get a
to...
lot done, huh?
Three-person
we can,
board,
huh?
you get a lot done.
Do we want to have a meeting? Do we want to just come in, sign,
It's just- I'd-
call
I'd
it a short week?
Get the, yeah, I'd just sign.
I think with
don't
three
we can do
missing.
anything without,
I'm not sure, but you'd have to check with Pam, see if anything's been scheduled. Because I think there was some things put off until the 28th.
28th.
All right. So rather than doing a workshop, we'll just do, I'll check with Pam, and we'll just do necessary business. We won't add anything new on or whatnot. For the following week, which would be the 4th, Dennis, you're not going to be here that week either, correct? Okay. Is everybody else going to be here on the 4th?
I think I am, but
Okay.
I may be late because we have that six-town school board meeting in Alfred.
Okay.
So hopefully I can get here in time, but if it isn't, it'll be a few minutes, and then I should have an update on the forecast of the school budget, which is currently looks pretty bleak.
All right, yeah. David, if you have anything for the agenda on the 4th that you think of next week, just give me a shout or Pam a shout before then. We'll get that on there. Items needing signature, we have warrants for bills and payroll, the minutes of 12/14/10, and the account policy from last week. Reminders, it's listed on here, there's a land trust meeting tomorrow night, however, there is no meeting this month. Thursday, December 23rd, 7 p.m., the library trustees are meeting at the library. On Tuesday, December 28th at 6 p.m. is the Selectmen's meeting here at Town Hall, and it will be just a necessary business event. The town offices will be closed on Friday, December 24th. That's this Friday, and also next Friday, December 31st, in observation of the Christmas and New Year's holidays. The transfer station will be closing at noontime this Friday, and also on Friday, December 31st, so that those employees can celebrate some holidays with their families, and will reopen at 1 p.m. on Sunday, December 26th, so you can get rid of all of your Christmas material. And remember, paper and cardboard is recyclable. And Sunday, January 2nd, the transfer station will open at 1 o'clock also. I just would, Gordon mentioned it earlier with the holidays. I'd also just like to express my sentiment to the public that you all have a very safe, enjoyable holiday. We had somebody within our town recently was diagnosed with cancer, and I'll let that person come forward with that, but certainly my thoughts are with that person. And it really puts into perspective that we all need to appreciate the time that we have with our friends, our families, and our loved ones, and just wish everybody a very happy holiday season. And with that, I would entertain a motion
Ditto.
going to executive session
So-
after a brief break.
Second.
All right, thank you.